Aaron Whitlow,
Chad Winston.
and we are the Swoop Squad. And today we're shooting our inaugural video called Swootin' the Breeze, which is the play off of Shooting the Breeze. What do you think?
Man, I love the idea, man.
We're gonna today's episode. We're gonna actually look at the idea or the grassroots movement of Black Lives Matter and see what that means to us and what it means to others.
Black Lives Matter, man. Sounds good.
All right, here we go. We're gonna watch this quick little clip though of Bernie Sanders rally. We won't interrupt it. We're gonna look at it real quick and then we're gonna talk and go from there. What do you think?
Man, love it.
All right. Okay. So Chad and I just got finished watching the Bernie Sanders be interrupted at Seattle rally by Black Lives Matter protesters. Um, what is your first thoughts after watching that?
Man, I was just like, wow. Only thing I can really say at the moment, don't get me wrong, man, it's a time and a place for everything, but at least let the man speak. But
Mhm.
I feel, the young lady, she had a lot to say, and don't get me wrong, what she had to say, I feel like it made a, it was important, but still, like, it got to be a time and a perfect place for everything. And
I agree.
at the time, that wasn't it.
I agree, and I think that honestly, the way that I mean, don't get me wrong, I am not voting for Bernie Sanders if he wins the Democratic if he's gonna be on the ticket. I'm not voting, for that way anyway. But anyway, but nevertheless, I'm not trying to sway your vote or whatnot. I'm just saying I'm not gonna vote for the guy. But nevertheless, I think it's rude to to jump up and interrupt this guy's, little rally that he's having to do that, and it comes off as disrespectful. I know in their mindset and stuff, they probably feel, well, we as black folks is getting disrespected by a lot of these cops killing a lot of black people, or and all these things like that. But two wrongs don't make it right.
That's it. The old saying, do to others as you would want it to be done to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So, me personally, I'm a type of person, I'm a quiet guy, but, I wait till my turn to speak. I let a person finish what they have to say first. That's when, I go in and say, after they get done, then I speak. But
right. So, do you think that it would have been better for perhaps them to allow Bernie Sanders to go ahead and do his rally and then speak? You think that, for one, they jumped on the stage. You shouldn't jump on the stage. If this was a concert, you would have been arrested or kicked out. You know what I'm saying?
Security.
But because they don't want to, they didn't want it to look like, that, oh, well, I'm anti-black or I hate black people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why they didn't call the cops. That's why I guess they weren't arrested. I guess that's why they weren't reprimanded as they should have been reprimanded, honestly, by jumping on the stage like that. I think that was, I honestly think that was rude. But that's just my humble opinion. What's your thoughts on that situation?
Again, kind of piggybacking everything that you just said, I just think, it was very rude. Again, us both being African Americans,
Mm-hmm.
we know, there's other things that, it's the stereotype, it's black people, they always want to speak out of turn, they always want to show themselves. But, that incident right there, again, give the man, at least a second to, speak. I'm not saying, okay, well, don't say what you need to say, because again, what you had to say, it was probably very important, as you said, with this Black Lives Matters, the white people, the cops, they're really killing our people. So, I'm not saying, okay, they was wrong in, going up there and speaking their mind, but at the same time, this guy, he has his time. Everybody's coming to see him. This was just like so unexpected. Like, wow, like who are these people? Just jump, as you said, jumping.
They just jumped straight up on the stage.
Yeah.
And the girl, one of them, honestly, looked like Craig's girlfriend from Friday. But that's just me.
I caught that, but I didn't want to say anything.
Who is that?
Let her finish. Let her talk.
But the thing is, man, I think that in today's society, today's world now, I believe that we're all so politically correct that we're afraid to offend people.
Right.
And I think that has become, it's like the notion of over sanitizing your hand.
Yeah.
To kill every single germ, because over time your body won't be as strong to building up. It would be more susceptible to get sick because it hasn't been able to produce the what it needed to fight off infections and diseases and whatnot. I think the same thing happens with being too politically correct to a point where now we're not able as a society to back away from the whole notion of, oh, I don't want to offend someone,
Right. And you brought out a great point earlier, man, when you was just like, okay, well, they didn't want to call the police, because hey, it's gonna make them be like, okay, well, we are the racist type, which that's not what he wants to show in a way, but
right. Yeah, I agree. I'm trying to pull up the questions, so if anybody ask questions, they're gonna appear. You got any questions, you can ask us questions. We will openly answer those questions if possible. You might hear my dogs barking in the background. but that's cool. Their dogs is what they're gonna do.
Few dogs.
Yeah, but the Black Lives Matter movement was started around the same time as Trayvon Martin was killed by George Zimmerman, I believe is his name.
Yep.
Which I don't. I hate that. I hate that I hate that anybody's lives is snuffed out. I hate that. I really do. I hate that a family lost their son. Um, and and I know the reason for the movement being sparked because they want to say, hey, Black Lives Matter. Don't just assume that our lives don't matter. But in my opinion, all lives matter because we both not only are we two African American men, we also are two African American ministers, we're preachers, teachers, Bible teachers, or whatnot. So we look at things not so much through a social worldview, but more through a Christian worldview. That we got to look at things from the lens of what does it mean as a Christian, and how do we, walk between what is of the world secular and what is of the church, spiritual. So,
I mean, as you point out, man, I mean, it's just not Black life, but it's everybody's life. Latinos, each and every culture. I mean, race, gender, everybody's life matters. So, I mean, as you pointed out, again, all this happened. When was it, about September 2013? So this did bring out a lot of eyebrows. A lot of eyes was open, just because this incident did happen. And as you said, it's not fair for any parent to bury a child,
right?
And especially we don't know all the details because we're not there, but we do know this young man did lose his life. And, assistant, and unfortunately, that wasn't the only one that lost a life. It was two more. Ain't that correct?
Yeah, I believe there's. Well, I think there's been several incidents where there was one. It was George Zimmerman was not an officer. He was, I guess he was night patrol, not night patrol, but what's it called? Walking around the neighborhood.
Neighborhood watch. Yeah,
he was neighborhood watch, and now they did like with the media, the media as in the news, they will show you they typically when they show pictures of Trayvon, they would show pictures of him smiling, the youthful pictures.
Right.
But then there was more pictures that they didn't really show of him, kind of flipping the bird and things like that.
Right.
And then I think so when people get ready to hold the story, they see this young kid, they say, oh, he shot this kid, I got a kid about that age, they look at it that way, but they don't really look at it as to what the whole thing, the man was acquitted. My personal thought was he maybe shouldn't have been acquitted, but I don't know. I wasn't there.
Right.
But nevertheless, I hate that incident happened. But then yes, there's other incidents. There's Mike Brown.
Yeah.
In Ferguson, Missouri. There was, let's see, there's several other ones. Let's see, there was Mike Brown in Ferguson. There was Eric Gardner, who was, choked out. Now, Mike Brown, the incident with Mike Brown, and that led to the riots that happened in Missouri, in Ferguson. And that was bad, man, for looting, which it had absolutely nothing to do with that young man's life. It's no excuse. And then people will be like, well, it's okay because it's civil disobedience. But I don't personally consider that civil disobedience. Looting,
right.
That looting is not helping that mom. That looting and destroying senior citizens housing, things like that, is not helping the situation, and hurting people and fighting and being things like that is not helping. And also, to and also what it does, it ends up causing, eventually your taxes to go up or
Mhm.
whatever because of repair work and things like that. And you get mad. Well, why is my house payment going up? Well, because of rioting.
That's it.
So it's a vicious circle, and I don't think that, like I said earlier, two wrongs don't make it right.
That's right, man. And again, the question everyone's asking, is my child next?
Hmm.
Is my brother next? Is my son next? My cousin? So now it's almost like now every black male is almost, in fear of, oh no, that'll be the next person. But again, this is a tragic, a sad incident, that has happened. Over time, we just have to realize and understand, as my brother just mentioned, we are both ministers, and God did prepare us and try to warn us for, these um, bad days to come. But
But and I also, as far as like with the I think it goes two ways. Now I do believe that there is police officers out there that don't have good intentions. Like
mhm,
uh, you know, like but with Mike Brown's situation, I want to say this first. I hate that the kid died. I
yeah,
really hate that he died. But also, two wrongs still don't make it right because he kind of looted a store and beat up a whole store owner, things like that, and then got into it with the police officers. I hate that it ended that way.
mhm,
The guy's life was, but I hope and I pray that it would have been better if he would have took a different avenue in that. But then there's other people that like the guy Eric Garner selling loose cigarettes. You know, who was choked to death. I can't breathe. The church that says I can't breathe.
mhm,
Um,
yeah,
he was choked out. He was choked to death. I think that was wrong. That was wrong. He was selling those cigarettes. I don't know if it's I don't know if the law of the land if that is considered legal or illegal, but nevertheless, I hate that the guy died over selling loose cigarettes, and he wasn't. In my opinion, he wasn't being combative. He wasn't um, like about have his hands up to fight or whatever. He was just talking to the guy, and then the other officers slipped behind him and grabbed him and whatnot and choked him, and got him down and they and caused him to not breathe. But then it's not just happening to black people. I seen a video once where his Mexican guy got the same type of uh, thing where he was killed by police and he couldn't breathe and he was complaining of his heart, but he was being locked up and things. I think it's even days. Their lives matter.
mhm,
But and then it's hard to not focus on just. It's hard to focus just on saying just Black Lives Matter, but to look at it at a sense of nobody. In this incident right
everybody,
now,
mhm,
Black Lives Matter. I ain't talking about everybody else, but Black Lives Matter.
right,
And it's true. Black lives do matter. But white lives matter. But Asian lives matter. But Mexican lives matter. You know what I'm saying?
everybody.
Yeah, the lives matter. Lives matter. All lives matter. Life is a precious thing. But you shouldn't, you shouldn't place one life over another.
Right. And, just to piggyback again what you just said, about the officers. In no way am I going to try to offend an officer, but we all have to be reasonable and understand, a police officer probably has the toughest job it is. And officers are trained to shoot. They are. And again, I'm not
Not the
saying
wound, but the shoot.
right.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying, okay, well, an officer, pulled you over,
Mhm.
oh, he's going to automatically shoot you. No. And again, as I'm saying, I'm not saying that these officers are all the time in the right because,
Mhm.
again, I mean, we just see, there's a few lives that they're killed, and who's to blame? It's the officer. But again, as you just said, two wrongs doesn't make a right.
Right.
And I just feel like, whatever happened, to the officers, hate, pepper spraying, tasing them. I mean, why are they, just shooting, shoot them in the leg, shoot them in the foot, don't take their lives. And I just don't understand that. Meaning, okay, well, you gonna flip off an officer and
Mhm.
he's gonna shoot you up. I mean, come on now. Like officers, you just got to do, you know, I just feel like it's more that they can do aside from just, pulling a gun and just shooting.
Right.
Think about it, where they want their son or brother or whoever, treated the same exact way.
Right. Right. And then another thing to kind of to look at as well is what about the like there's times where you see the like sometimes the people that are getting killed in situations like this have maybe did something like that would say by the law standards justifiable homicide, justifiable cause for this,
Hmm.
you know. But I've seen incidents where there was no justification for it. I'm not justifying it, but there's no justification for it. Like I seen the one and it's in the news here lately. I don't know the guy's name, and forgive me for not knowing the guy's name. But he was wearing red. He was sitting in the car, and the police kept asking him for his ID. And he says, I don't have my ID. Just run my name. He kept saying, just run my name. And as he says, just run my name, the police officer tries to tries to take him out of his car. Tries to take him out of his car, and the guy kind of shuts the door, like, whoa, whoa, what are you doing? And at the same time, when that happened, the police officer, panicked and pushed back,
Oh,
and pull out a gun, shoots the guy, and the guy, puts in park and drive and goes. Now, and the police saying that he feared for his life because he was being drugged, and then the other officers backed up his story. But when the cops GoPro camera type of thing, the one that they have in the uniforms, when that footage was leaked and aired out and came available, you see that none of what that officer described happened. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
What happened was, the officer, in my opinion, from what I saw, killed the guy in cold blood. Unjustifiable. In what he did.
Man, that just makes you, I wonder, I don't want to say it's a lose-lose situation, but when it's your word versus an officer's word, then you can only be the judge how that's going to end. It's just one of those things where it's just like, well, I mean, I want to say you just can't really win because at the end of the day, they really have the upper hand. I mean, it's your word versus their word, pretty much.
Right. Yeah, and it's really, like you said, it's really your word versus their word in that case. But I think that from having video evidence that helps out. Also, there's an incident um, with the gentleman that got pulled over. He was on his way to a barbecue. You remember this?
Yeah.
He was on his way to a barbecue, and he got pulled over, and he was shot and killed and whatnot. Um, like the police, like he was running away, and the police shot him and killed him. And then the police officer dropped his taser, by the guy and said that the guy grabbed his taser. Couple of things. One that I want to bring up, I think is very important. Now, I'm not saying that every cop out there has this type of mindset or his itchy trigger finger. But what I'm saying is, I think it's very important for everyone to know your constitutional rights. I think it's very important to know your constitutional rights, know your state and local rights, know what you can or cannot do, know what cops can and cannot do. Know, ask them if am I being detained or am I free to go? And if they say you're free to go, then you're free to go. Find out you don't, tell them that the officer doesn't have the right to unlawfully search your vehicle without your request. And if they say, "Can I search your vehicle?" you can say no. You know, but also keep in mind this might irritate an already irritable police officer.
Mhm.
So you gotta know your rights, but also as important it is to know your rights, and as important as it is to know the laws of the land, is also equally important, in my opinion, to abide and obey the laws of the land. Now, unless those laws of the land, from a Christian worldview, tells you to do something that is contrary to God's will. But if it's not contrary to God's will, you are to obey it. I am to not run a red light. I am not. I am not to drive without wearing a seatbelt. I'm not to be publicly intoxicated. You know what I'm saying?
I definitely know what you're saying. Almost as you saying, you have a choice to do right or do wrong.
Mhm.
Almost going back to this whole podcast is, I mean, does Black life matters? I know personally, my life matters.
Mhm.
I mean, I know that I have a bright future. I know that everything I do in life, I mean, I want to benefit from it. I know there's a lot of things that I have either started. So yeah, I mean, I'm gonna say personally, yeah, my life matters, and I know again for yourself, I mean, your life matters as well. So either with our audience, our listeners, I just want to say and ask the question, why does your life really truly matters? I mean, it's a purpose behind it. I know it is.
Right. And there is absolutely a purpose behind it. There's purpose behind our lives. And that life in a Christian perspective. I can only speak from a Christian perspective. You might have a secular perspective. I'm not saying that you do, brother
Man.
Chad. You need to go to church more. No, I'm playing with you. I'm playing. But from a Christian perspective, um, lives matter. My life matters. Not only my life matters, but everyone's life matter because we are all imago Dei, which is image made in the image of God. My friends that are theologians, if I butchered that Latin, please forgive me. I'm unlearned inside theological seminaries. I'm self-taught, kind of like Spurgeon was.
I forgive you, my son.
Nah, you better stop playing with the Lord. But anyway, um, we're all image bearers. We're all made in the image of God. And I think that it's important to love your neighbor. And your neighbor in this aspect isn't isn't just um, isn't just your isn't just your physical neighbor. Your neighbor isn't just your physical neighbor. Your neighbor isn't is as simple as your circle, your group, the people that you hang out with. It's not just your church family. It's not just your genetic family. Your neighbor also includes those that you might not even like. Like that. It might also include people that look different from you.
Mm-hmm.
Your neighbor is not Mike. Your neighbors do include these people because they were created in the image of God, just like we
Mm-hmm.
are created in the image of God. So it's very, very important to love your neighbor. Not only your neighbor that, in my opinion, in my Christian worldview, it's important not to just love your neighbor that's alive. I think it's important to love your preborn neighbor, meaning like your unborn neighbor, the babies that are in the womb. I think if Black lives really get down to it, Black Lives Matter. You see Planned Parenthood, they have been killing Black folks since Roe v. Wade. And they kill them all day, every day.
Mm-hmm.
So, if our lives matter, we got to shut down these type of death mills.
No, I definitely agree with you because, just listen to you speak, I just thought of, as these officers are doing this, as these officers, are taking the lives of, I would say innocent people, but, they're just taking the lives. I mean, do you think they're thinking, all right, well, I believe his life matters. I'm not going to kill him. I mean, they're not showing it that if it did matters, again, as I said, whatever happened to, this pepper spraying, as you said, two wrongs don't make a right. We can only, you know, guess. We can only, it's our opinion, just to tell, what happened. I mean, we're not was officially there. We can't see what happened, who was right, who was wrong, but we just know one is alive and one's not.
Right. And the uh, the thing is though, we we gotta not only look at it like you're right. We don't know we wasn't there in most aspects, other than if it's on video. If like it was taped. In that case, if it's on video, if it's taped, we see it. We know what happened. But then again, that even can be subjective because unless you have a clear vantage point, you really don't know truly what happened. But nevertheless, we we can make our own minds up from what we see. Okay, this is what we seen happen. This is who's guilty. This is who's innocent. You know, but um, but I think that when it comes to the issue of Black Lives Matter, like there's been. What's your thoughts on this? There was this incident that I forget who it was. It was somebody that was at one of those rallies, just kind of like for Bernie Sanders, and and he was mentioning, you know, and people protested of Black Lives Matter, protester said from the audience said Black Lives Matter, Black Lives, something like that. And then the guy responded by saying all lives matter, and then he got booed. But I think what's your thoughts on the situation where when somebody says Black Lives Matter, and then someone else returns and says all lives matter, and then that saying is met with boos. What is your response to that?
Man, that is a great question. Um, Again, I go back saying, all life does matter. I mean, again, it's just not blacks, it's just not whites, Latinos, any other race or gender at that matter. All lives matters. However, I do feel, just because if we, do our studies, if we, look, I mean, there are more blacks that have lost their life in the last year. So in its particular time, I feel like this movement is so strong because when you think about it, I mean, you got 3, 4, 5, you got so many different lives that was lost, and it's all in the African American race. I mean, you don't hear about, the whites losing lives. You don't hear any other race but the black. So again, I would say at this moment, that's the reason why, people are more behind the black lives matters because there are the ones that who has lost so many lives. But at the end of the day, every lives matter regardless.
Right. But the thing is though, I mean, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but what you're saying is just that the with the Black Lives Matter, they're saying that the Black Lives Matter right now because that's what they're seeing as being the ones being killed the most, black people. And so they're saying, no, even though all lives matter, but right now Black Lives Matter the most right now because this is the issue that we're dealing with currently. Um, and I understand the mindset behind that, but it reminds me almost as if uh, it reminds me almost of the Black Panther Party for self-defense. Initially, the Black Panther Party for self-defense, which was Marxist, meaning it was really grounded in Marxism, which is it's very socialist type of mindset. But anyway, its initial beginnings was wrapped around police brutality, police not policing the neighborhood, the black neighborhoods, the way that they wanted them to. So they said, well, what we're going to do is not only police our neighborhood, but also police the police. And so their mindset behind that was, let's police the police and police our neighborhood in order to find out what's going on and and then fix this up and whatnot. And but from there it kind of grew and grew and grew and and in its to its core it wasn't bad as far as like I understood what its meaning was, and it had points, it had things that it shot for as far as like the like what it wanted. Like it says this, and I'm reading this from Wikipedia, but you can find it online anywhere. The Black Panther Party's 10-point program. This is what they wanted. It says this: we want freedom. We want the power. We want power to determine the destiny of our Black community. We want full employment for our people. I mean, that's not a bad thing. We want full employment for our people. We want Black folks to be able to. I'm not saying we as in I'm a Black Panther, but I'm saying we as in this is what they are saying. I'm wearing their glasses. I'm looking through their worldview to communicate this. They want full employment for Black people, not part-time employment, not to be shafted because of the race. And I understand that. I get that. You know, we want an end to the robbery by the white men of our Black community. And it says this was later changed that we want an end to the robbery by the capitalists of our Black and oppressed communities. So they felt that capitalism was robbing Black people, robbing the community. So what they did in return was they started having Black-owned stores, Black-owned franchises, Black-owned buildings, Black-owned businesses. Start educating their kids. They started having food or whatnot and after-school programs for their kids. Afeni Shakur was a Black Panther. Tupac's mom. Yeah, Tupac, who was born with the same parish crooks, and nobody knows that, was grew up and then was he's part of the whole movement with them, as a kid and whatnot. But anyway, that's what their original aspect was. But then somewhere along the line, it's skewed, just like the Crips. And I'm not comparing them to the Crips, but if we're gonna be real with one another, Crips was originally like an offshoot of the Black Panther Party, but then it became criminal when crack got introduced into the Black communities. But go ahead, bro.
No, man, I was just gonna say, what's been so, interest to me is, as you notice with this whole movement, I mean, you don't either hear about, the gangs, you don't hear about anything like this. You don't either hear about, because, let's say about 5, 6, 7 years ago, you still had our people killing our own people. But now with this Black Lives Matter movement, you don't hear about, another Black person taking another Black person's life anymore.
Well, I'm going to actually interrupt you on that because we do, but we don't hear about it in the media because it doesn't fit the narrative. It doesn't fit the narrative of what they want us to know, because like in Chicago is one of the most violent places where black on black crime is rampant. Louisville is a very, very violent place. In certain places in Louisville, some places very nice. But there's other places in Louisville you don't want to go to Louisville. In Bowling Green, the places they can be very violent. But so you have places like that. But the thing is, it doesn't fit the narrative, so you don't hear about it. So you don't hear about the black on black crime as much as you hear about the white on black crime, because the white on black crime fits the modern narrative of Black Lives Matter. That's just my opinion.
And it makes you think, again, you just put it out there. Why do you hear that for? Why do you hear? I mean, is it like the CNN wants to bring in their viewers talking about, okay, well, if this white person kills a Black person, then let's shoot this and, really bring in more viewers. Or as you just said, here's a Black person that just killed a Black person over some Jordans. That's not important. So why do you feel that for?
Right. like I said, it don't fit the narrative. Let me get back to this 10 point because I'm leading up to something with the 10 points for the Black Panther, and I'm because the Black Lives Matter they also have their own list of demands, and so we want to see if it has similarities. There's no new history. Well, things kind of repeat itself. So uh, it says in the fourth one. The fourth point was this: we want decent housing fit for shelter for human beings. I understand that. You don't want to live in the slum. We don't want slumlords. Remind me of good times. Cause they lived in projects. I think the Green,
There we
which is the
go.
worst project there ever was. But
I don't mind.
that's sad. Anyway, and then it says we want education for our people that exposes the true nature of the decadent American society. We want education that teaches us of our true history and our role in the present day society. We want all black men to be exempt from military service.
Mm.
I don't agree with that. If you, I think that if you I know some great black men that serve in the military. Now, without the draft, you don't have to. But I think that the military, in some sense, have builds character.
Oh yeah.
Like there's some guys I know that needs to go to the military because they lack character. I was in ROTC for 3 years of my high school career and absolutely enjoyed it. It taught me leadership. It taught me I had a squad underneath me. I started first class, so it taught me how to lead and how to also take leadership.
And, as you said, some without a father figure, living in just a single household, they don't have that leadership. So,
Mhm.
if you're not taught anything, then you can't be like, okay, well, I'm gonna live this certain way. I mean, if you're not taught, then what do you expect?
Right. What do you expect? You expect to have you expect to I think it's important to have a father figure. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, let me finish this up because we're gonna wrap it up too. Because we want to get to this. What's going on here? So with this, it says um, we want freedom for all black men. Let's see, here we go. We want an immediate end to police brutality and murder of black people. That's like the heart of the Black Lives Matter movement right there.
That's it.
That's what kind of like their tagline right there. We want freedom for all black men held in federal, state, county, and city prisons and jails. That is, I understand, but man, that's some criminals that you don't want to let loose. So not everybody is a political prisoner. Some folks is straight crazy. But some you don't want to release. People like free my homie this, free my homie that. Your homie killed like 5 people. Keep him locked up.
No, I'm just getting nervous just thinking about that.
Yeah, you can't be scared to sleep tonight. But and then it says this. And this is point 9. We want all black people, when brought to trial, to be tried in court by a jury of their peer group or people from their black communities as defined by the Constitution of the United States. So they're saying that black people aren't tried in a jury of their peers. Now, historically, this had happened during like Jim Crow laws in the South. Black folks, if there was a jury, they were usually convicted of a jury of all white jurors. If there was a crime like Emmett Till, where his mom, he was murdered, and his mom decided to show the pictures of his body. I don't know if you're familiar with this, but Emmett Till, she showed the pictures of his face being brutally destroyed and beaten. Um, it's important to know that that those guys that committed that crime was tried by a jury of all white jurors, and they were let loose. They were not convicted of it. So back in those days, back in Jim Crow law, that happened. I think with this whole motto of saying by a jury of black folks, essentially, I think now hopefully folks is more uh, open-minded that they can come to a conclusion. And now you have black folks, white folks, you have a mixed jury pool. You don't have like just one race. And I think that could be that could be detrimental if, say, if there was a white man that's on trial for something, crime against a black person, and you have all black jury, then chances are he's going to get convicted. Yeah, I hate to say that, but but it's true.
9 out of 10.
But I think it's good to have a mix of different people, give different mindsets and thoughts and viewpoints to come to a conclusion, whether it's guilty, not guilty. Sometimes it's hung juries.
5 and 5.
Yeah.
I think as you just pointed out, and my personal opinion, you know, Black Life Matters. We got to think about it. Go all the way back to slavery. 1950s, 1940. When you got you know so many black lives. That wasn't either actually started, as you just said a few minutes ago. I mean, again, we this generation, we seeing it, that we got so many African Americans, male African Americans, losing their life. But back in the 40s, the 30s, the 20s, 60s, I mean, this same stuff was still going on.
Right.
But now we're just bold enough to speak out and say, hey, our life really matters. And if it don't get better, it's actually going to get worse.
I understand that. But with that said, in the slavery days where black lives didn't matter, you wasn't even considered human, now those, the black lives is in, if you're going to go that route, then the black lives that are inside the womb, the mom, they are not considered human by the laws of the land.
Yeah.
They're considered to not be human. And so, two wrongs still don't make it right. So if that was wrong for them to say that about black folks being in slavery days, I think it's absolutely wrong for them to say that about black, white, Asian, any child that's in the womb today, that's not a child, that their lives don't matter. I think that their lives matter. So if Black Lives Matter, let's shut down the abortion clinics, because to do that, it really says that black lives truly do matter. It's not the Black Lives Matter, but in this situation, I understand, you got to do what you got to do. No, Black Lives Matter. If they're going to matter, they're going to matter across the board. It's just in my opinion. It's just in my opinion.
Can't argue with that.
And then you have this. This is the last point with the Black Panthers. Then we're going to move to the Black Lives Matters, little points. We're not, I'm not saying little points, but, that's how I talk. Get over it, people. Anyway, it says, it's not verse 10, it's hold on. But anyway, it might be to some people. Some people might be, but it ain't to me. It ain't my body. But anyway, we want land, bread, housing, education, clothing, justice, and peace. And that's not bad, and that's true. Everybody should desire those things. And I understand that. Now let's go to the Black Lives Matter and what their demands are. It says this. We will seek justice for Brown's family by petitioning for immediate arrest of Officer Darren Wilson and the dismissal of County Prosecutor Robert McCullough. Groups that are part of the local Hands Up Don't Shoot coalition have already called for Wilson Swift's arrest. Some BLM, Black Lives Matter riders, also canvassed McCullough's neighborhood as way of raising the public awareness of the case. We will have developed a network of organizations and advocates to form a national policy specifically aimed at redressing the systemic pattern of anti-black law enforcement violence in the U.S. The Justice Department new investigation into St. Louis area police department is good start, but it's not enough. Our ride was endorsed by a few dozen local, regional, national organizations while maintaining different missions have demonstrated unprecedented solidarity in response to anti-Black police violence. We hope to encourage more organizations to endorse and participate in a network with a renewed purpose of conceptualizing police recommendations. You can go ahead and read that one.
We will also demand through the network that the federal government discontinues its supply of military weapons and equipment to local laws, enforcement.
And Congress seems to finally be considering measures in this regard. It remains essential to monitor the demilitarization process in corporate sectors that financially benefit from the sale of military tools to police. We will call on Office of U.S. Attorney General Eric Holder to release the names of all officers involved in killing Black people within the last 5 years, both while on patrol or in custody, so they can be brought to justice if they haven't already. And then lastly, we will advocate for the decrease in law enforcement spending at the local, state, and federal levels and a reinvestment of that budgeted money into Black communities most devastated by poverty in order to create jobs, housing, and schools. This money should be redirected to those federal departments charged with providing employment, housing, and education services. Your thoughts on the national demands of the Black Lives Matter grassroots peoples?
Well, man, I mean, it was everything that we read.
Boy, you can sell it. All right. So with that said, you know, I think it's important to, you know, and we're about to end this because we got on way too long on this subject of Black Lives Matter. I'm not saying that it doesn't matter to us. It doesn't matter. Black Lives Matter, but to me, all lives matter. And to say that one life matters over another is not true. You know, but I do hope that the police officers, and not all police officers should be thrown out. You know, because there's some good police officers out there that, you know, I think they are being unfairly demonized by the ills of a few, just like white people in general.
Mm-hmm.
Not every white person in general is racist. So it's wrong to say white people are racist.
Hulk Hogan.
No, I messed up, man.
I mean,
leave Hulk Hogan alone. I don't, you know, leave the Hulk maniac alone, man.
Black Panthers running right on you.
That's messed up, bro. But yeah, so Black lives do matter. White lives matter. All lives matter. I hope that honestly I hope there's less and less, not incrementally, but I hope that it's immediate stop to not only Black folks getting killed by officers, white cops, or whatever, but also I hope there's a decrease in Black folks killing Black folks, white folks killing white folks, all folks killing all folks. Yeah, I hope that there is I hope it stops because, you know, this is not what God wants.
Your life matters. Your life is full of so much to do, and you know, for it to be cut off, for it to be cut short, then I mean, you can't leave your legacy. You know, if that makes sense.
That makes sense.
So,
all right. Well, Aaron Whitlow,
Chad Winston.
Thank you for watching or listening to this podcast. We are swooting the breeze today. We're gonna probably do another episode maybe here in a moment. But you all take it easy, breezy for sheezy.
Appreciate y'all guys.
Subscribe, Swoo Squad Show on YouTube. Check us out.